5 signs you're facing big travel risks after 70. Read this before your next trip. Have you ever wondered if traveling after 70 is still a wise choice? Or maybe you felt a twinge of doubt right before booking that long-awaited vacation. If that sounds like you, you're not alone. Many older adults wrestle with the question of whether it's truly safe or even enjoyable to embark on a trip later in life. We've all heard the wonderful stories of retirees jetting off to exotic beaches, cruising along scenic rivers, or exploring charming foreign villages. But beneath those dreamy postcards lies a set of very real and often overlooked dangers. Today, we're going to talk about 5 critical signs you're facing big travel risks after 70. By the end of this discussion, you'll know what to watch out for and how to protect yourself from potential pitfalls that could turn a relaxing vacation into a stressful ordeal. Let's face it, getting older brings changes that aren't always predictable. Your body may not bounce back from exhaustion as quickly, your immune system might not battle germs as effectively, and your finances could be at higher risk of scams than when you were in your 30s or 40s. These are genuine concerns, but they don't have to stop you from experiencing life beyond your hometown. In fact, many seniors continue to travel safely well into their 70s, 80s, and even 90s so long as they take proper precautions. In this script, we'll uncover 5 specific warning signs you should never ignore before you pack your bags. Each sign highlights a different set of travel risks that become more pronounced with age. We'll look at common scenarios like hidden medical emergencies, scams that target older Americans, and exhausting flight itineraries that can leave you feeling drained for days. And don't worry, we won't leave you in a state of fear or anxiety. Along with every challenge, we'll share practical tips, real-life examples, and supportive advice that helps you make smarter, safer travel decisions. You might be thinking, well, I'm still pretty healthy. I've traveled before, so maybe this doesn't apply to me. That's a fair thought. However, health issues can creep up unexpectedly, especially in unfamiliar environments where you don't have your usual support system. Plus, even if you're in great shape, issues like jet lag, travel fatigue, or unfamiliar food can pose risks that weren't there when you were younger. Consider Linda, a 72-year-old avid traveler who prided herself on being young at heart. She planned an ambitious trip to Europe last summer, several countries in under 3 weeks. Halfway through, she experienced debilitating back pain that forced her to spend several days in bed, missing out on sights she'd spent months anticipating. "I just didn't realize how much stamina I'd need," she later shared with her friends. Stories like Linda's aren't meant to scare you, but to illustrate that your body, your mind, and your finances must be cared for in new ways as you advance in age. The good news is that there are strategies to help you navigate these challenges, like choosing shorter flights, budgeting for extra amenities, or booking hotels near medical facilities if you have pre-existing conditions. The key is awareness, and that's exactly what we'll provide here. As we go through each of the 5 signs, I encourage you to reflect on your own situation. Do these scenarios resonate with you or someone you know? Are there steps you could take to travel more confidently? Stay with me until the end because I'll also share a few essential tips that can make your journey smoother. And if you find something especially relatable, I invite you to comment below. For instance, if you agree with the second sign we discuss, type in the comments to let us know. That kind of engagement helps build a community of seniors who learn from and support each other. Now, let's dive into the 5 signs you're facing big travel risks after 70. Keep in mind, every person is unique, so use this information as a guideline, but always consult with your doctor, financial advisor, or family members for tailored advice. Our goal is to help you travel with peace of mind, not to deter you from exploring the world you love. Sign 1: escalating health emergencies you might overlook. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: health concerns. One of the most obvious, yet often underplayed, travel risks for those over 70 involves unexpected medical issues. Have you ever felt a strange ache during a trip but shrugged it off thinking, "I'll deal with it when I get home"? That approach can be dangerous, As our bodies age, common conditions like hypertension or heart disease become more volatile. What might be a minor inconvenience at home, where you have your regular doctor and nearby hospital, can turn into a major ordeal thousands of miles away. Take the story of George, a 74-year-old history buff who saved up for a dream trip to explore Civil War battlefields across the country. He'd been dealing with mild chest pain off and on, but he figured it was just stress. One afternoon, in the middle of a guided tour, George started experiencing intense shortness of breath and severe chest discomfort. The local medical clinic wasn't equipped for major cardiac events, and the nearest large hospital was more than an hour away by ambulance. George eventually recovered, but he spent the remainder of his trip in a hospital bed, missing out on the experiences he'd been so eager to have. "If I'd only listened to my doctor's advice," he lamented, realizing he'd overlooked the seriousness of his symptoms. Medical emergencies aren't limited to heart issues. Seniors traveling to higher altitudes might find themselves battling severe shortness of breath. Older adults on long flights risk developing deep vein thrombosis, DVT. And anyone with a chronic condition, like diabetes, may struggle to manage medication schedules in different time zones. What's more, unfamiliar climates or drastically different cuisines can upset even the healthiest digestive system. Dehydration, often overlooked, can escalate quickly, leaving you dizzy or disoriented in settings where immediate medical help isn't guaranteed. Before you dismiss these possibilities, consider your contingency plan. Do you have a list of local hospitals at your destination? Have you purchased travel insurance that includes emergency evacuation services? Many standard health insurance policies, particularly in the United States, do not cover international medical costs, leaving you with astronomical bills if you require serious care. Even if you're traveling domestically, urgent care expenses out of your network can add up quickly if you don't do your homework. The good news: proper planning can minimize these risks. First, consult with your primary care physician a few weeks before your departure. Ask for a thorough checkup, ensuring your blood pressure, heart condition, and other key health markers are stable. If you have a chronic ailment, request extra medication for any trip delays or extended stays. Keep a copy of your medical records, including medication lists and emergency contacts, in a folder or in a secure file on your phone. Finally, invest in comprehensive travel insurance and read the fine print. Make sure it covers pre-existing conditions if that's relevant to you. Taking these steps isn't being paranoid, it's being prepared. If you've ever been concerned about sudden health flare-ups while traveling, you're not alone. Comment below if health issues are something you think about. Coming up next, we'll discuss another hidden risk that can hit you faster than you might expect. So let's keep going. Sign 2: weakened immune system and greater exposure to infection. Moving on, let's discuss the second sign: infection risks. You might not notice a weakened immune system day to day, but senior travelers often find themselves more susceptible to bugs and viruses in unfamiliar places. When you were younger, you might have shrugged off a mild flu or stomach upset. However, at 70 plus, even a seemingly harmless common cold can progress into something more severe like bronchitis or pneumonia. Consider Mary, a 77-year-old grandmother who visited her grandchildren in Florida. It was a short domestic flight, just a few hours, but the airplane was crowded, and she ended up seated next to a coughing passenger. Within a day of arriving, Mary developed a persistent cough and fever. She chalked it up to allergies at first, but soon found herself in urgent care with acute bronchitis. "I never imagined a simple trip to see my family would end up with me stuck in bed for half of my visit," she recalled. Airports and airplanes are breeding grounds for germs because so many travelers converge from different regions or countries. Recirculated air in the cabin, surfaces like tray tables or armrests that aren't always thoroughly disinfected, and close proximity to coughing or sneezing passengers can amplify your exposure. And it's not just planes. Cruise ships, busy bus stations, and tourist hotspots all pose risks for seniors whose immune systems may be less robust than they once were. Beyond respiratory illnesses, there are gastrointestinal issues. Trying new foods is part of the joy of travel, but it also opens the door to bacteria your body isn't used to. In countries with different sanitation standards, common maladies like traveler's diarrhea can escalate quickly, especially in older adults who may become dehydrated more rapidly. Dehydration can lead to confusion, low blood pressure, and kidney problems. In short, what might be a quick 24-hour inconvenience in your younger days could morph into a multi-day health challenge when you're older. So how do you minimize your risk? First, prioritize hygiene. Bring hand sanitizer everywhere you go and don't hesitate to use it, especially before meals or after you've been in crowded places. If you feel more comfortable wearing a face mask in busy airports or on public transportation, do so. Keep your vaccinations up to date, including flu shots and pneumonia vaccines if recommended by your doctor. Plan your itinerary so that you're not constantly pushing your body to exhaustion. Because fatigue weakens the immune system further, rest days are just as important as sightseeing days. Also, consider your diet carefully while traveling. Opt for well-cooked foods, especially if you're in a location known for questionable water sources or less than reliable street vendors. Try to stay hydrated by drinking bottled water, and if the local tap water is suspect, use purified water even for brushing your teeth. An extra layer of caution can go a long way in preserving your energy and overall health. Don't let fear of infection deter you from exploring new places. Awareness and good hygiene habits are often enough to keep you safe. If you've ever come down with a bug during travel or worried about it, comment too below. Now let's delve into a travel risk that sneaks up on many seniors: the exhaustion factor. Sign 3. Travel exhaustion and hidden stressors draining your energy. Now, let's talk about the third sign of big travel risk after 70. Fatigue and stress that can zap your energy in ways you never experienced before. Picture this. You're excited for a multi-stop adventure. You board a plane at 6 a.m., land in a foreign city late at night local time, and you're expected to wake up early the next day for a full tour schedule. In your younger years, you might have powered through with just a cup of strong coffee. At 70 or beyond, however, prolonged jet lag and irregular sleep patterns can make you feel foggy, weak, and even depressed. Remember Linda from the introduction? She discovered the hard way that a fast-paced itinerary can physically overwhelm you. Another example is Carl, a 73-year-old retiree who was thrilled to visit national parks across the United States by RV. He mapped out 10 destinations in 3 weeks, convinced that the driving wouldn't be too taxing. But the reality was daily hours behind the wheel, minimal rest stops, and hurried campground setups. By the second week, Carl felt constantly tired, waking up each morning with stiff joints and mild headaches. What was supposed to be a rejuvenating trip turned into a chore he dreaded each day. Why does this happen? One big reason is that older adults need more deliberate rest to recover from physical or mental stress. Simple tasks like lifting a suitcase or navigating airport security demand greater energy than we might realize. And if you're crossing multiple time zones, jet lag can linger well beyond the first day. Throw in the anxiety of being in a new place, possibly dealing with language barriers or complicated itineraries, and it's no surprise you might feel constantly wiped out. Exhaustion isn't just an annoyance, it can lead to more serious complications. Fatigue can make you less aware of your surroundings, increasing your risk of falling or misplacing important items like travel documents. It can also weaken your immune system, making you more susceptible to the kinds of infections we just discussed. Emotionally, chronic travel fatigue may trigger mood swings, irritability, or even mild depression, none of which are conducive to an enjoyable vacation. Fortunately, there are strategies to handle or avoid such stressors. First, be realistic when planning your schedule. It might sound impressive to hit 6 European capitals in 10 days, but consider the toll that kind of itinerary takes on your body and mind. Build in extra rest days, or at least half days, where you can lounge at a cafe, read a book in the hotel lounge, or just catch up on sleep. Second, choose direct flights whenever possible, even if it costs a bit more, because every layover adds stress and increases the chance of delays. If direct flights aren't possible, try to plan layovers that are long enough for you to stretch, walk around, and rehydrate. Also, consider the type of accommodations you select. An inexpensive tiny hotel room up 3 flights of stairs might look like a great deal online, but the daily climb can be grueling. Think about upgrading to places with elevators, room service, or even on-site medical assistance. Yes, it may cost more, but comfort and peace of mind often outweigh the extra dollars. Finally, pay attention to your diet and hydration. Try to eat balanced meals that include fruits and vegetables, and avoid overdoing caffeine or alcohol, which can disrupt your sleep. Staying hydrated helps keep your energy levels steady. If you're on medications, follow the prescribed schedule meticulously, even if it means setting alarms on your phone. These small steps make a huge difference in how you feel each day. If you've ever returned from a trip feeling more exhausted than before you left, let us know by commenting 3. It's a common experience, but there are ways to make your travel more restful and rewarding. Now, let's transition to a different kind of risk that affects both your wallet and your peace of mind. Signed for financial pitfalls and scams targeting seniors. On to the fourth sign, financial risks, which can be as damaging as health issues. Imagine saving up for the perfect getaway, only to discover hidden fees, stolen credit card details, or being lured into a travel scam. For seniors, these risks become more pronounced because scammers often target older adults, assuming they might be less tech-savvy or more trusting. Let's talk about Francis, a widower in his late 70s who dreamed of a cruise to Alaska. He was thrilled to find what looked like an incredible deal online, half the normal price. He entered his credit card information and everything seemed legitimate, but when he showed up at the port, the cruise line had no record of his booking. As it turned out, the entire website was a scam. Not only did he lose his hard-earned money, but his personal financial data was compromised. "I felt so embarrassed I didn't even want to tell my kids," he admitted. That sense of shame is common among scam victims and often prevents them from speaking up or seeking help. Even if you avoid outright fraud, hidden fees and unexpected costs can derail your budget. In some cases, all-inclusive packages might exclude taxes, gratuities, or special excursions. If you don't read the fine print, you could wind up paying significantly more than you planned. Similarly, international travelers sometimes face surprise currency exchange fees. And let's not forget about medical bills. If you don't have the right travel insurance, a single hospital visit abroad can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Senior travelers are also more likely to be approached by individuals offering too good to be true deals, like heavily discounted excursions or free souvenirs, provided you pay a small handling fee up front. Some criminals pose as friendly locals, offering to show you around, then steer you to overpriced shops that pay them kickbacks. Others may simply pickpocket or distract you while an accomplice grabs your belongings. Being aware of these tactics is the first line of defense. So what can you do to protect yourself? First, always book through reputable agencies or directly through well-known travel websites. If a deal seems suspiciously cheap, double-check by reading multiple reviews or calling the official cruise line or airline to verify. Second, invest in travel insurance that covers a wide range of emergencies, from health issues to trip cancellations. As a senior, you might pay a bit more, but it's a worthwhile safety net. Third, consider using a credit card known for robust fraud protection when you travel, and keep a close eye on your statements. If you notice charges you don't recognize, report them immediately. When you're on the road, practice everyday vigilance. Keep your wallet and important documents in a secure bag, and be wary of strangers approaching you with unsolicited offers. If someone claims you've won a free prize yet asks for personal or financial information, that's a huge red flag. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it usually is. Have you or someone you know ever been affected by travel scams or hidden fees? Comment 4 if you're aware of how real these risks can be. Next, we'll move on to our final sign, which deals with an issue that can be both physically and emotionally challenging for seniors on the go. Sign 5. Accessibility challenges and mobility hazards. Finally, let's address a concern that often doesn't get the attention it deserves: accessibility and the heightened risk of physical injury. Even if you're spry for your age, the reality is that balance, coordination, and muscle strength naturally decrease over time. That might not be a big problem when you're at home in your familiar environment, but traveling often involves uneven sidewalks, cobblestone streets, hotel showers without proper grab bars, or flights of stairs with no handrails. A simple misstep can lead to fractures, sprains, or lengthy hospital stays in unfamiliar places. Remember Linda? After her back pain improved, she tried to salvage her European trip by visiting an ancient castle. The stairs were steep, worn down by centuries of footsteps, and there was no elevator. Linda lost her footing halfway up and ended up twisting her ankle. While it wasn't serious, it forced her to rely on taxis for the rest of her trip, adding extra costs and limiting her activities. It made me realize the world isn't always senior-friendly. Linda joked later, but the experience left her shaken. Accessibility issues extend beyond architectural barriers. Public transportation in foreign countries might be crowded or lack priority seating, making it hard for older adults to stand or navigate aisles safely. Cruise ships can have slippery decks, especially in wet weather. Even something as routine as crossing the street can be a challenge in countries where traffic rules differ from what you're used to. If you rely on a cane, walker, or wheelchair, you'll need to research whether your destination supports those needs, from ramp availability to hotel rooms with roll-in showers. Moreover, let's not forget the emotional toll. Feeling restricted or dependent on others can impact your sense of independence. Some seniors decide to push through painful steps or unstable terrain out of pride, risking an accident rather than asking for assistance. It's natural to want to maintain your dignity, but it's also essential to recognize your limits. Pride shouldn't stand in the way of a safe and enjoyable trip. So how do you adapt? First, research your destination thoroughly. Many travel websites and guidebooks now specify whether attractions are accessible for those with limited mobility. When booking accommodations, call or email ahead, asking questions about elevators, ramps, and shower safety bars. Don't just assume a handicap-friendly label means it's right for you. Dig deeper to confirm it meets your actual needs. If you're going on tours, inquire about how much walking or climbing is involved. Some companies specialize in senior-friendly travel, offering slower-paced itineraries and accessible transportation. Even if you don't have a major mobility issue, it's always wise to plan for the unexpected, like a twisted ankle or sudden fatigue. Another tip is to invest in good footwear. High-quality, non-slip shoes can reduce the risk of falls dramatically. Avoid cheap flip-flops or shoes with worn-out soles. If you use a cane, consider one with a rubber tip designed for extra stability on slippery surfaces. And if you feel uncertain about a path, it's perfectly okay to say, "I'll wait here," or "I need a hand." There's no shame in prioritizing your safety. Comment 5. If you've ever worried about mobility hazards while traveling or have been caught off guard by inaccessible facilities. Coming up, we'll wrap up everything we've discussed and provide a concise set of tips to help you travel safely, confidently, and without undue stress. Practical tips for senior travelers and final thoughts. We've just explored 5 major signs that you could be facing big travel risks after 70. Escalating health emergencies, increased susceptibility to infections, heightened travel fatigue, financial pitfalls, and accessibility challenges. By now you might be thinking, is it even worth traveling anymore? Rest assured, the answer is yes, if you prepare wisely. Let's summarize a few practical tips that can turn these risks into manageable hurdles rather than insurmountable obstacles. First, prioritize your health. Schedule a thorough medical checkup before any big trip. Keep extra medication on hand, and know where to seek help at your destination. Comprehensive travel insurance that covers pre-existing conditions is a must. Read the policy carefully to ensure it fits your needs. Second, maintain good hygiene practices and mind your immune system. Bring sanitizers, stay hydrated, and pace yourself to avoid overexertion. If you're traveling to places where the water quality is uncertain, opt for bottled water. Small steps can significantly reduce infection risks. Third, be honest about your stamina. Build in rest days, choose direct flights if possible, and look for accommodations with amenities that make your stay restful. Don't hesitate to say no to overly ambitious itineraries. Fourth, protect your finances. Book through reputable websites, use credit cards with fraud protection, and read the fine print to avoid hidden fees. Beware of offers that seem too good to be true, and double-check deals by calling official hotlines. Fifth, recognize any mobility challenges. Research destinations and accommodations for accessibility features, invest in sturdy shoes, and consider slower-paced tours designed for older adults. Never sacrifice your safety for pride. Now, here are 3 key tips to seal the deal. Be proactive. Don't wait for something to go wrong. Ask questions, read reviews, and plan carefully. A bit of extra caution can save you a world of trouble later. Stay connected, keep your phone charged, and make sure someone at home knows your itinerary. If you're traveling alone, update a friend or family member daily. Technology can be a lifesaver, literally. If you need assistance quickly, know your limits. This doesn't mean you have to stop exploring, it just means being realistic. If a particular tour involves long uphill walks and you have arthritis, maybe opt for a scenic train ride instead. Focus on what you can enjoy rather than fixating on what you can't. At this point, you have a clear roadmap of the 5 major red flags to watch out for, along with tangible ways to safeguard your well-being, finances, and overall travel experience. Aging doesn't have to rob you of the joy of new adventures. It just requires a bit more planning and wisdom. Embrace that process and you'll discover that traveling at 70 plus can be just as fulfilling as it was decades ago. Perhaps even more so, given the perspective and appreciation you've gained over the years. If any part of this discussion resonated with you, please let me know by commenting below. Maybe 1 matched your concerns about health, or 3 was a reminder of a trip that left you utterly exhausted. Your stories and insights could help fellow seniors who are also navigating this stage of life. Don't forget to like this video if you found the tips helpful, and consider subscribing for more content aimed at helping you live your best life after 70. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, the goal isn't to scare you into staying home, it's to ensure you're fully prepared so your next trip, whether it's a short drive to see loved ones or a journey across the globe, can be both safe and rewarding. Because ultimately, it's not just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. Safe travels, and I look forward to hearing about your adventures in the comments below.